I'm back. That was a stressful phone call, so yeah, I'm just gonna forget that phone call happened and pick up where I left off. Anyway, so after I came out to this friend, it took me a little, like, maybe a couple weeks to come out to another one of my friends, and before I know it, I was out to all my friends. Um, so that happened. And then afterwards, this was after I started talking to a couple girls informally, not like dating level, but just like chatting with them. And there's a couple that I almost went on a date with, but I felt like I wasn't ready to date if I wasn't fully out of the closet yet with my family because they'd know something was up. Um, so I basically like cut all those not even relationships before they could grow into something bigger. Um, a while after, I came out to my mom, and she was like, "Well," and I came out to her as bi because what I was talking about before, um, lesbian just wasn't something we really talked about. So I came out to her as bi, and she was like, "That's not a thing." And I tried explaining what it was, and she didn't. I want to say she accepted it, but she didn't really accept it, if that makes sense. Like, she respected my decision. I think that's more of it, but she respected my decision, but she didn't accept that I was coming out, if that makes sense. Um, so this went on and off for a while, and then finally, a while later, I started talking to um, the woman that is now my girlfriend. Um, we started talking. There's actually a really big snowstorm, and it got super cold. And we just started talking. And before we knew it, we actually really hit it off. There's a couple nights I didn't go to bed till really late because we were up talking. Um, and then it was a while before we even sent each other like a snap on Snapchat. So it like started off really slow, but like before we knew it, maybe like a month into it, probably 2 months, but we knew like a lot about each other. Um, and then we were finally like, maybe we should try meeting in person. So we did. We were both really paranoid. We're like, what if this person's a killer? Um, when we pulled up next to each other's cars, we kind of looked at each other like, are you going to come kill me? And we both looked inside each other's cars. And for about 5 minutes, we were a little apprehensive of each other. Um, and our first date, we actually met at Canova because we're like, why not? It's not super cheap, but it's not super expensive either. So we were just like, we'll eat a little bit of DIY Mexican food, or make it yourself, I guess. Make it yourself Mexican food. Um, and we chatted, and it was actually kind of funny because we were both I wanted lemonade, and she wanted Dr. Pepper, I think it was, and like the soda machine broke. Um, and we were both like, damn. So we both got to choose something from behind the counter. And like the employees were apologizing. They're like, "Oh, we're sorry, we're sorry," and we laughed about it because it was kind of funny. Um, and then we sat down and talked to each other for it was like 2.5 hours. Um, and then at one point it started getting dark out, and we were like, we should probably leave the restaurant. We've been here for close to 3 hours now. So then we just walked around the mall and we started just like doing random things. Like we walked into Bath and Body Works and smelled all the hand soaps. That's where our hand soap um, obsession came from. And we smelled the candles. And I remember this one, and it was like something to do with Paris. And I'm like, oh, what do you think Paris smells like? And she looks at me and gets like this sly grin on her face, and she's like, oh, I think it smells like Paris. And I was like, oh my god, I'm falling for this woman. And like, she's such, she's like geeky, but like a different kind of geeky than me, if that makes sense. Um, yeah, so that happened. Oh, we also left at this. God, what was it? A seahorse? It was a seahorse statue, and it looked like a toothbrush. And I was like, "Oh my god, you can buy a toothbrush statue!" And like, we had to leave the store because we were getting weird looks because we were laughing so hard. It was it was perfect. It was not their most original first date idea, but it was pretty damn great. Then we drove around for a while after the mall closed because neither one of us wanted to leave quite yet. And then we ended up going to a store. We got some Oreos and some vegan Ben and Jerry's ice cream, and we made mini ice cream sandwiches. Um, oh, and we weren't sure where to drive with our ice cream because we were like, we don't want to eat this in the grocery store parking lot. And I'm like, oh my god, we gotta protect it. And she's like, oh, we can wrap it up in this blanket like a baby. And I'm like, oh, it's our first date and we already have a baby. And it was just so much fun and we were laughing so hard. Um, and then like the ice cream was melting so quickly, it got all over us and our hands were so sticky. And it was like almost midnight, if not after. And then we're like, neither one of us has anything to wipe our hands off with. And we're like, we should probably call it a night before like people are like, what the hell are you two people up to? So that happened. We didn't kiss on our first date, actually. Um, we both wanted to. We both discussed it like months afterwards, and it was like, oh, we should have kissed each other on our first date, but we actually didn't kiss for quite a long time. I want to say, okay, maybe not a long time, but like I don't think we kissed for like 3 weeks after our first date. So we definitely took things slow, but it was worth it. Um, so yeah, that happened, and um, finally, just like falling for a woman made me realize, without a doubt, like I knew I was a lesbian, but like there's still that little part of me that was like, what if you're not? And just like falling for this girl just made me realize I am definitely 100% a lesbian. Um, so yeah, that's basically my my gay story, I guess. Um, After it was actually before my first date with her, I told my mom that I was seeing a girl, and I was like, and I have to tell you, when I first came out to you, I told you I was bi, but I'm a lesbian. And she just looked at me and she was like, okay. Um, I still I still know for a fact she doesn't really accept it, but and that's probably why she has such a big deal with my living arrangements now because I don't think she wants to accept it that I'm living with my girlfriend. But yeah, anyway, that's pretty much my story. Um, I guess I can actually end this with my first ever kiss. Um, so I don't know, that just seems like a cheesy, fun way to end this video. So anyway, basically we went on a couple other dates. So we got like root beer from this one really awesome place in my hometown. And then we just like walked around a park and sat by a lake for a while. That was a lot of fun. We watched the sunset together. And there's just like, we did a bunch of different crazy things. And then one day she came out by me. We got some french fries, some Culvers. She got some cheese curds. And we just, this was like maybe 2 o'clock. I got done with work early that day. And we just snacked and drove around and talked. We listened to the entire Hamilton soundtrack together. Um, and we just drove around for a really long time. And we ended up parking on a hill next to like a big grass field. And we were listening to music. And it was really late. It was like 11 o'clock already. Um, and we were just sitting there listening to music, and of course like late night music always gets a little weird. um, like we were both kind of tired, and uh, we were holding hands and just I don't even really, I don't know how to tell this story. um, I can just like I can picture it in my head, but that's about it. So basically, like this one song came on, and like we were both quiet, and like neither one of us was looking at each other, but like like her hand just like slowly started like going up my arm and like landed on my shoulder, and um like I had my hand on her like on her knee, and we were just, I don't know, it just like happened all so slow but so fast at the same time. And like before I knew it, like she like whispered in my ear, she's like, "Is this okay?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she like turned my face with her hand and like cupped my face, and like by that point I had like my hand on her shoulder and stuff, and like we just kissed. um and we ended up kissing for like solid 20 minutes. It was kind of funny because we were actually sitting on a road, and like there's a couple times that like see like a car starting to come down the street, and we just kind of like looked away or like ducked, and then we just like go right back to kissing. And so yeah, that's my story. Um, oh, one more thing. I do remember that night after all of that, she like dropped me back off at my apartment where I was living. And like I got out of the car and like I almost fell back into the car. She's like, "Are you okay?" And like I was shaking so hard from like all the adrenaline and excitement in like my system. She's like, "Are you okay? Do you want me to walk you upstairs?" And I'm like, "No, no, I'm good, I'm good." And yeah, it was wonderful. Um, so yeah, um, that is my, like, I don't know, coming out story, I guess. And yeah, our relationship moved, like it was really slow at first, and then it kind of like, I think just we talked for so long before and knew so much about each other. But like our first date, we just like feel like we've known each other for like a really long time. Um, I don't know. And like I feel like our relationship, I don't want to say it's like moved really fast, but I mean then again I am living with her right now, so take that for what it means. So yeah, that is my weird story. And I'm not gonna tell you why this popped up in my head. because that's a really long story. Anyway, so that's what happened. Um, I might film another video later, but then that would be 3 videos since this one is broken in half. So I don't know. I'll figure out something. Um, so anyway, I love y'all, and I will talk to you later. Have a good day. Bye.